The morning had barely begun, yet the world already felt heavy on her shoulders. Emma stood behind the counter of the small cafe, her trembling hands tightening the knot of her faded apron. The smell of fresh coffee lingered in the air, mingling with the quiet hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of footsteps on the wet pavement outside. But inside Emma's chest, a storm was raging, anxiety, exhaustion, and loneliness clawing at her heart. She blinked hard, willing her tears not to fall, but they betrayed her, slipping down her cheeks and soaking into the fabric of her apron. She thought no one would notice. After all, who really looked at the waitress in the corner cafe? She was just another tired soul blending into the background of other people's lives. Blueheart, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of compassion, please take a moment right now to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to Kindness Tales. Your support helps spread these heart-touching stories to more people around the world. Blueheart, the cafe was her world, yet also her cage. It was the place she had worked for nearly 3 years, the only job she had been able to hold on to after her life spiraled into pieces. Emma was in her early 30s, but her weary eyes and the lines etched into her face made her look older. Life had not been kind. She once dreamed of becoming a teacher, filling classrooms with laughter, shaping young lives. But dreams had a way of shattering when bills piled up faster than hope could keep pace. Her husband had left 3 years ago, taking with him not just love, but financial stability. He disappeared overnight, leaving her with debts in her name, a broken heart, and an 8-year-old daughter to raise alone. The girl, Lily, was her light, her reason to keep breathing, yet Emma often lay awake at night wondering if she was failing as a mother. She could barely keep food on the table, the electricity sometimes flickered with overdue bills, and every month felt like a mountain she was too weak to climb. The cafe job wasn't glamorous, and it barely paid enough, but it was something. Morning shifts meant she could be home when Lily returned from school, though it also meant waking before dawn, dragging herself through exhaustion, and forcing a smile for customers even when her soul was crumbling. Most people who walked into the cafe never looked her in the eyes. They ordered coffee, maybe a sandwich, and went on with their lives. To them, she was invisible. To her, every day was survival. But that particular morning was different. The weight of everything pressed harder than usual. Rent was overdue. The landlord had given her a final warning, and Lily had asked the night before why she couldn't join her classmates on a school trip because Emma couldn't afford the fee. That innocent question had broken her. She had cried into her pillow after putting Lily to bed, ashamed of being the kind of mother who had to say no to childhood joys. Now, standing in the cafe with a damp apron clinging to her, Emma wondered how much longer she could go on like this. The morning rush began. Customers trickled in, ordering their usual lattes and cappuccinos, tapping impatiently at their phones, barely glancing at her. Emma moved on autopilot, smiling faintly, scribbling orders, wiping tables, her tears carefully hidden behind a mask of routine. She told herself she couldn't afford to break down. Not here, not now. Then, just past 9 o'clock, the door opened again. A chill breeze entered along with an elderly man, tall and frail, with silver hair and a coat that looked older than most people in the cafe. He moved slowly, leaning slightly on a wooden cane, his eyes scanning the room until they settled on an empty booth by the window. Something about him drew Emma's attention. Unlike the others, he didn't rush. His presence was calm, deliberate, like a page from another time. Emma walked over to take his order, forcing a polite smile, even as her chest still ached from suppressed tears. The man looked up at her, his eyes a piercing shade of blue that seemed to see beyond the surface. For the first time that morning, someone looked directly at her, not at the notepad in her hand, not at the menu, but at her. He asked for a simple black coffee. His voice was gentle, steady, carrying warmth even in its frailty. As Emma brought the cup to his table, their eyes met again, and something unspoken passed between them, an unguarded recognition of pain. She quickly turned away, embarrassed by the thought that he might have noticed the tear stains on her apron. The old man sat quietly, sipping his coffee, occasionally gazing out the window as though searching for memories hidden in the streets beyond. He stayed longer than most customers, lingering in that booth while others came and went. Emma found herself glancing in his direction, wondering what his story was. There was a kind of loneliness around him, but also a quiet dignity. When he finally stood to leave, Emma walked over to collect the bill. He placed a folded note and some cash on the table, then gave her a small, almost fatherly nod before walking out the door. It wasn't until she cleared the table that she realized he had left more than just money behind. Her breath caught as she saw the amount. The coffee cost only a few dollars, but the old man had left a tip that was more than she usually made in an entire day. Her hand shook as she unfolded the note resting beneath the bills. In neat, careful handwriting it read, "For the tears you try to hide. I don't know your story, but I know the weight of silent battles. Once, I had nothing but despair too. Someone showed me kindness when I was lost. Now it's my turn to pass it on. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. Hold on, better days are coming." Emma's knees nearly gave out. She sank into the booth, clutching the note to her chest, her tears falling freely now. Not of despair, but of something deeper, something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. It wasn't just about the money, though it would certainly help. It was the message, the reminder that even in her darkest hour, she wasn't unseen. A stranger had noticed her pain and reached out in a way that restored something inside her she thought had died. She pressed the note against her heart, whispering silently a thank you the old man would never hear. That single act of kindness cracked the walls she had built around her despair. For the first time in months, she allowed herself to believe that maybe, just maybe, life could still hold unexpected blessings. The rest of the day, Emma carried herself differently. She smiled, not the forced, brittle smile of survival, but a genuine one. Customers who had never noticed her before suddenly seemed to see her, if only faintly, because she was glowing with a quiet strength. And when she went home that evening, she hugged Lily tighter than ever, showing her the note. Lily's eyes lit up, and she whispered, "See, Mommy? We're not alone." That night, Emma carefully placed the note inside a small box where she kept her most precious things. It wasn't just paper. It was a lifeline, a reminder that kindness existed in the world, and that her story wasn't over. Weeks passed, and though challenges didn't vanish overnight, Emma faced them with renewed courage. She picked up extra shifts, managed to catch up on rent, and even save enough to let Lily join her classmates on the next trip. Each time Emma felt herself slipping back into despair, she would take out the old man's note and read it again, hearing his words echo in her soul. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. Perhaps she would never see him again. But maybe that was the beauty of it. Some angels walked into our lives only for a moment, leaving behind a gift that lasted a lifetime. Cherry Blossom, if this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Tales. Your support means the world and helps us continue sharing stories that remind us of the power of compassion and second chances. Cherry Blossom, speech balloon special request. Before you go, please comment below. Have you ever experienced or witnessed a small act of kindness that changed your life, even in a simple way? We'd love to hear your story. And so, in a quiet cafe where tears once stained an apron, a stranger's simple tip became more than money. It became hope, faith, and a reminder that even in our darkest battles, kindness has the power to light the way forward.